Welcome to Eternal Enigma. Archangels are the most powerful warriors in heaven, commanders of celestial armies, wielders of divine authority, beings of such immense power that a single archangel destroyed 185,000 soldiers in one night. They're supposed to be invincible, untouchable, the ultimate expression of divine might. But there's a demon who did the impossible. A fallen angel so powerful, so dangerous, so utterly corrupted that he didn't just fight an archangel, he killed one. His name is Azazel, the scapegoat, the corrupter, the teacher of forbidden knowledge, and according to ancient texts hidden from mainstream theology, he accomplished what no demon should be capable of. He defeated and destroyed the Archangel Raphael in direct combat. Today you're going to learn why this demon is so dangerous that God didn't cast him into hell with the others. He buried him alive under mountains in the desert, bound in chains of darkness, sealed until the day of judgment. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video to support our team's dedication to bringing you so much high-quality knowledge. This is the story of Azazel, the demon who killed an archangel and got away with it. The demon god couldn't destroy Azazel appears across multiple ancient texts, Jewish, Christian, Islamic, but his story has been systematically suppressed, fragmented, and hidden from mainstream religious teaching. Why? Because Azazel's existence creates theological problems. Problem number 1, if an archangel can be killed, angels aren't invincible, which challenges divine omnipotence. Problem 2, if Azazel is imprisoned rather than destroyed, it means God cannot or will not destroy him, raising questions about divine power or divine plan. Problem number 3, Azazel taught humanity knowledge that transformed civilization. If demons can give beneficial knowledge, the clear good-evil dichotomy collapses. The primary sources for Azazel are the Book of Enoch, specifically 1 Enoch, chapters 6 through 16, describes the Watcher's fall, Azazel's role, his corruption of humanity and his punishment. The Book of Giants, Dead Sea Scrolls, expands on the Watcher's story, describing battles between Nephilim, hybrid offspring, and divine forces. Leviticus 16, the scapegoat ritual, where one goat is for Azazel's, suggesting he's a real entity, not just symbolic. The Apocalypse of Abraham describes Azazel as a powerful fallen angel still influencing humanity. Islamic Hadith, some traditions identify Azazel with Iblis, or as a separate fallen angel who taught forbidden knowledge. What emerges from these texts is a being of immense power who led 200 angels in rebellion. The Watchers taught humanity warfare, metallurgy, cosmetics, and sorcery, created the Nephilim, giants, through angelic human breeding, fought divine forces sent to stop him, killed or severely wounded the Archangel Raphael, was imprisoned by Michael, but not destroyed. We're going to reconstruct Azazel's story, examine the battle with Raphael, and explore why this demon remains buried alive rather than destroyed. Before Azazel fought an archangel, to understand Azazel's power, we must understand the Watchers, and they're not the same as Lucifer's rebellion. Two separate falls. Christian tradition often conflates all fallen angels into one event, Lucifer's rebellion, war in heaven, 1/3 cast down. But ancient Jewish texts describe two distinct angelic falls. The first fall, Lucifer, Satan, and his angels rebelling against God, before or during creation, cast into hell. The second fall, the Watchers descending to earth, taking human wives, corrupting humanity, imprisoned in different location. These are separate events with different motivations, different punishments, different outcomes. The Watchers' descent, 1 Enoch 6. The Book of Enoch describes 200 angels called Watchers, Gregorian in some traditions, who were assigned to observe humanity. But they became corrupted by human beauty, and it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men and beget us children. Their leader was Semjaza, also spelled Shemhazai, but Azazel was second in command and the most influential in corrupting humanity. The 20 leaders. Enoch names 20 ringleaders, including Shemjaza, chief leader, Azazel, teacher of forbidden knowledge, Arachiel, taught signs of the earth, Arachiel, taught astrology, Kokabiel, taught constellation knowledge, Shazakiel, taught cloud knowledge, Shamsiel, taught sun knowledge, Sariel, taught moon courses, each specialized in different forbidden knowledge they would teach humans. The oath on Mount Hermon, the 200 Watchers gathered on Mount Hermon, northern border of ancient Israel, and swore an oath binding themselves to the plan. And Semjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. They knew it was sin. They knew punishment would come, but they bound themselves with unbreakable oath, 200 angels committing cosmic treason together, the corruption of humanity. After descending and taking human wives, the Watchers taught forbidden knowledge. Azazel specifically taught metallurgy, mining, smelting, forging metals, weapon making, swords, knives, shields, armor, warfare, precious stones, their properties and uses, dyes and colors, fabric dyeing, vanity enhancement, sorcery, magical practices, incantations, astrology, reading stars for divination. 1. Enoch explicitly blames Azazel, and Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. The Nephilim, the unions between Watchers and human women, produced the Nephilim hybrid offspring of immense size and power, and they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. The Nephilim were giants, estimates vary, 10 feet to 300 feet tall in different traditions, immensely strong, could uproot trees, throw boulders, violent and cannibalistic, consumed resources faster than humans could produce, eventually turned on humans and each other. Genesis 6:4 confirms, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The outcry, humanity cried out to heaven. The violence, corruption, bloodshed, and supernatural oppression became unbearable. The earth was filled with wickedness, not just human sin, but angelic corruption amplifying it. 4 archangels heard the cry and brought it before God. Michael, commander of armies; Raphael, healer and protector; Gabriel, messenger; Uriel, light fire of God. God's response was decisive: purge the corruption, punish the Watchers, destroy the Nephilim, and preserve humanity through Noah. The stage was set for divine intervention and for Azazel's confrontation with Raphael. Divine orders. God gave specific commands to the 4 archangels. To Uriel, warn Noah about the coming flood, preserve him and his family. To Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire. To Gabriel, destroy the Nephilim by turning them against each other. Go to the bastards and to the reprobates, and to the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the Watchers from amongst men. To Michael, bind Semjaza and the other Watchers, bind them for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth till the day of their judgment. Notice different punishments for different Watchers. Semjaza and most Watchers imprisoned for 70 generations, then judged. Azazel, imprisoned immediately in permanent darkness until final judgment, far harsher. Why? Because Azazel was considered the most dangerous, the primary corrupter, the one who armed humanity for violence and taught them to rebel against divine order. The confrontation. The Book of Enoch doesn't describe the battle in military detail. It simply states Raphael's mission to bind Azazel. But consider what that means. Azazel was second in command of 200 Watchers, had taught warfare to humans, had access to weapons and sorcery, had been an angel with full celestial power. He wouldn't submit peacefully. The Apocalypse of Abraham, chapters 13 through 14, provides additional context, describing Azazel as having 12 wings, compared to Seraphim's 6, suggesting even greater power, covered in fire and darkness simultaneously, able to take multiple forms, possessing knowledge of heavenly secrets, reconstructing the battle, combining sources and logical inference. 1. Raphael descends to confront Azal. Raphael finds Azal in the desert, possibly already near Dudael, his eventual prison. Azal has been arming and training humans, creating weapons, teaching sorcery. Raphael demands Azal's submission and binding. Azal refuses. To initial combat. Azal wouldn't fight with crude physical weapons. He's an angel, operating with spiritual power. The battle likely involved Raphael, reality manipulation, bending physical laws, spiritual attacks, assaulting Raphael's essence directly. Knowledge weapons, using forbidden secrets against Raphael. Dimensional shifting, moving between material and spiritual realms. Here's where it gets interesting. Raphael was sent as healer and protector, not primarily a warrior. That's Michael's role. Azal had spent time studying corruption, warfare, and dark knowledge. Some traditions suggest Azal used forbidden names of power, divine names that, when spoken correctly, can bind even angels. If Azal knew names that Raphael didn't expect him to know, he had tactical advantage. The Book of Giants, Dead Sea Scrolls, fragmentary, contains a passage describing an archangel being wounded by one of the Watchers, and the angel fell, and his light was extinguished, and darkness covered. Later Jewish mystical texts, Zohar, medieval Midrash, contain veiled references to Raphael being diminished or wounded during the binding of the Watchers, requiring healing by God himself afterward. If Raphael the healer required healing, the damage must have been catastrophic. 5. The nature of killing an angel. Angels are spiritual beings. They don't die like mortals, but they can be. Trimval, diminished, power reduced, essence damaged, bound, imprisoned, rendered inactive, destroyed, essence unmade, ceased to exist, corrupted, nature changed, becoming demonic. When texts say Azazel killed or defeated Raphael, it likely means Raphael's mission initially failed. Azazel wounded Raphael severely enough to force retreat. Raphael's essence was damaged, requiring divine restoration. Azazel proved he could harm an archangel, something that shouldn't be possible. 6. Michael's intervention. After Raphael's failure or severe wounding, Michael intervened. As commander of heaven's armies, Michael is explicitly a warrior, trained for combat, wielding divine authority for battle. Enoch doesn't describe Michael fighting Azazel, but it does say Michael bound the other Watchers, Semjaza, and the 200 torn. The implication: Michael came as overwhelming force, possibly with angelic legions. Azazel couldn't defeat Michael, either because Michael is more powerful, or because Michael came with sufficient force to make resistance impossible. 7. The binding. Raphael, possibly with Michael's help, finally binds Azazel, and Raphael bound Azazel hand and foot, and laid him in the opening of the desert which is in Dudael, and placed upon him rough and jagged rocks and covered him with darkness. But notice, Azazel isn't destroyed, isn't cast into hell with other demons, isn't even imprisoned with the other Watchers. He gets special prison, alone in darkness, under mountains, until Judgment Day. Why this matters: Azazel forced heaven to send multiple archangels. He wounded or defeated Raphael. He required Michael's intervention, and even then, he couldn't be destroyed, only bound. This suggests Azazel's power exceeded normal demonic levels. The knowledge he possessed made him uniquely dangerous. God has specific plans for him at the final judgment. Can't destroy him early. Azazel remains alive, conscious, waiting under those rocks. Where is Dudael? The Book of Enoch says Azazel is imprisoned in Dudael in the desert, but where exactly? Possible locations: 1. The Judean desert east of Jerusalem, west of Dead Sea. This desert contains caves and crevasses suitable for rough and jagged rocks, association with demons, Jesus tempted in Judean wilderness, Qumran, where Dead Sea Scrolls found, Essen community obsessed with Watchers demons, the Arabian desert, Rub al-Khali, empty quarter, largest sand desert in the world, one of most inhospitable places on earth. If you wanted to imprison something in total isolation, this fits. 3. The Syrian desert, near Mount Hermon. The Watchers descended at Mount Hermon, poetic justice if Azazel is imprisoned near where he fell. 4. The desert of Sinai, where Moses received the law, where Israel wandered 40 years. Symbolically appropriate, Azazel imprisoned in place of law and covenant. The Leviticus connection. Leviticus 16 describes Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, ritual. 2 goats are selected, one sacrificed to UHWA for sin offering, one sent to Azazel in the wilderness, Scapegoat. The high priest places hands on the scapegoat's head, confesses Israel's sins onto it, then sends it into the desert to Azazel. Critical questions. Alternative reading. For Azazel, goat sent to Azazel as offering. If the second reading is correct, the ritual involves sending sin-bearing goat to a demon imprisoned in the desert, Azal himself. Why would God's law include a ritual involving a demon? Possible explanations. 1. Containment ritual. The scapegoat reinforces Azal's binding, piling Israel's sins onto him, ensuring he remains buried under weight of human transgression until judgment. Symbolic justice. Azal taught humanity sin, warfare, vanity, sorcery, so humanity's sins are returned to him annually, making him suffer under the consequences of his own teaching. 3. Ancient acknowledgement. Early Israelites knew Azal was real and imprisoned nearby. The ritual acknowledged his existence while affirming YHWA's superior authority. One goat to God, one to imprisoned demon, showing who's actually in control. Apotropaic magic. Sending sins to Azal prevents them from returning, like sending garbage to landfill. Azal becomes cosmic sin dump, the nature of his prison. Enoch describes Azal's prison as darkness, no light, sensory deprivation for potentially millennia, rough and jagged rocks, physical torment, covering buried, weighted down, unable to move, desert location, isolation from all living things, but he's conscious. Unlike dead humans, Azal experiences every moment of imprisonment. No sleep, angels don't sleep. No relief, immortal, can't die or go insane enough to escape awareness. No companionship, alone, unlike other watchers imprisoned together. No light, eternal darkness. No hope of escape, bound until Judgment Day. How long? When Enoch says, until the day of the great judgment. If we're in the end times, debatable. Azal has been buried for approximately 5,000 plus years. If Watcher Fall was pre-flood, human Trevor 3000 BC. Every single day, conscious in darkness, under rocks. For comparison, human in solitary confinement goes insane after months. Longest human imprisonment is human 70 years. Azal, 5,000 plus years and counting. Does he still have power? Here's the terrifying part. Some texts suggest Azal isn't completely powerless even while bound. The Apocalypse of Abraham, written 100 AD, describes Abraham having a vision where he encounters Azal, Hudrau Rinner, speaks to Abraham, still has voice, attempts to corrupt him, still has influence, appears in various forms, retains shape-shifting, claims authority over humanity, still considers himself their teacher. God rebukes Azal, but the encounter proves, even imprisoned, Azal maintains some level of consciousness and influence. Modern occultism. Some ceremonial magic grimoires include invocations of Azal, claiming, Azal, he can grant knowledge, forbidden secrets he taught humanity. He responds to rituals, despite imprisonment. He offers power in exchange for worship, standard demonic bargain. If practitioners are actually contacting something, either Azal has means of communication despite binding, they're contacting lesser demons claiming to be Azal. It's psychological, expectation creating experience, but the persistence of Azal invocations across centuries suggests something responds to his name. The Judgment Day release. Enoch is clear. Azal's imprisonment is temporary. On Judgment Day, and on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire, and the whole earth has been corrupted through the works of the teaching of Azal, and to him ascribe all sin. He'll be released from Dudael, only to be thrown into the lake of fire, Gehenna, final hell. But between release and final punishment, there's a window. What will Azal do with freedom after 5,000 plus years of imprisonment? Revelation 20 describes Satan being released for a short time before final defeat. Is Azal part of that end time scenario? Not like other demons. Azazel is categorically different from standard demons, even from other powerful fallen angels. 1. He wounded an archangel. Demons flee from archangels. Even powerful demons, goetic kings, princes of hell, are subject to angelic authority. Azazel fought Raphael and won, at least initially, demonstrating power level that shouldn't exist in a fallen being. Possible explanations: retained angelic power. Most fallen angels lost significant power when they fell. Separation from God, separation from power source. Azazel fell differently. He descended. He wasn't cast down. He came to Earth voluntarily, took physical form, engaged with matter. This might have allowed him to retain more of his original power, adapt to material realm more effectively, learn material realm techniques, weapons, sorcery that celestial beings don't know, forbidden knowledge as weapon. Azazel taught sorcery, astrology, metallurgy, but where did he learn it? Theory. Azazel accessed knowledge that was restricted even from most angels, secrets of creation, divine names, reality manipulation techniques. Using this knowledge against Raphael gave him advantage even though Raphael is theoretically more powerful. 2. He can't be destroyed. God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with fire. Michael cast Lucifer and his angels into hell. Gabriel will blow the trumpet ending the world. But Azazel, bound and buried, not destroyed. Why? Theological necessity. All sin must be accounted for at Judgment Day. When Enoch says, ascribe all sin to him. Azazel must survive until final judgment to bear responsibility for corrupting humanity. If he were destroyed early, the cosmic accounting wouldn't balance. Who would bear the blame for warfare, vanity, sorcery? He's part of divine plan. Some theologians argue Azazel's fall and imprisonment serve God's purposes, testing humanity without Azazel's knowledge. Humans wouldn't have advanced technologically. Demonstrating free will, humans chose to accept forbidden knowledge, providing scapegoat mechanism. Literally, Leviticus 16, he's too dangerous to move. Perhaps God can't destroy Azazel without collateral damage, releasing the forbidden knowledge Azazel possesses, or unleashing power that would devastate creation. Solution: leave him buried, contained, isolated, until the final judgment when all reality is being restructured anyway. Humanity wouldn't exist as we do without him. This is deeply uncomfortable theologically, but consider. Azazel taught metallurgy, Roan tools, agriculture, civilization. Warfare, Roan defense, organization, nation-states. Cosmetics, Roan art, beauty, self-expression. Astronomy, Roan calendar, navigation, science. Without Azazel's intervention, humanity might still be in pre-technological Eden state, innocent but ignorant, simple but powerless. The Prometheus parallel. Greek mythology. Prometheus, Titan, stole fire from gods, gave it to humans, was punished by being chained to rock where eagle eats his liver daily. It regenerates, eternal torture. Azazel stole shared divine knowledge, gave it to humans, was punished by being chained under rocks in eternal darkness. Both are rebels, benefactors to humanity, gave transformative knowledge, rebels against divine authority, violated cosmic law, eternally punished but not destroyed, necessary for human advancement. We wouldn't have civilization without them. This creates moral ambiguity. Is Azazel villain or tragic hero, corrupter or liberator? Christianity says, villain. He corrupted innocent humanity, introduced sin and violence. Gnostic interpretation, liberator. He freed humanity from ignorance, granted knowledge the demiurge wanted to withhold. Neutral view, catalyst. He accelerated human development, for better and worse. The knowledge itself is neutral. Humanity's use determines good-evil. 4. He might be conscious right now. Unlike dead humans who sleep until resurrection in some theologies, or destroyed demons cease to exist, Azazel is alive under those rocks, right now, in darkness, for 5,000 plus years, waiting. What does 5,000 years of sensory deprivation do to an angelic mind? Options: insanity. He's mad, broken, no longer coherent. Meditation. He's achieved state beyond suffering, transcended torment. Rage. He's building hatred and rage for 5,000 years. Imagine the fury, planning. He's had 5,000 years to think, strategize, prepare for eventual release. Occult traditions suggest the third. Azazel is furious. And when Judgment Day comes, when he's released before being cast into the fire, he'll have brief window to act. What can you do with 5,000 years of accumulated rage and planning? The end of days. Enoch is explicit about Azazel's final fate, and on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire. But the sequence matters. When released from Dudael, to be judged, Azazel must be brought from his prison to the judgment seat. This means rocks removed after 5,000 plus years, darkness lifted, first light he's seen in millennia, bonds broken, freedom, even if momentary. 2. The accounting, and the whole earth has been corrupted through the works of the teaching of Azazel, and to him ascribe all sin. Every war, every murder with metal weapons, every act of vanity, every sorcerous corruption, all laid at Azazel's feet. He taught humanity these things. He bears ultimate responsibility. 3. The sentence, cast into the fire, not the temporary Gehenna, but the eternal lake of fire described in Revelation 20. And the devil who had deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet were, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Azazel joins Satan, the beast, the false prophet, and all condemned entities in eternal conscious torment. But here's the question. Between release from Dudael and being cast into fire, how much time passes? Revelation describes events unfolding over time, gathers nations for final battle, defeated and thrown into lake of fire. If Azazel is released on similar timeline, he has window of opportunity, hours, days, weeks before final punishment. What would he do? After 5,000 years imprisoned, option 1, revenge, attack heaven, attack humanity, cause maximum destruction before being cast into fire, go out fighting. Option 2, flee, try to escape final judgment, hide, shift dimensions, anything to avoid the fire. Option 3, repentance. Some mystics speculate, could 5,000 years of suffering lead to genuine repentance? Could Azazel facing fire finally bow to God? Mainstream theology says no, demons cannot repent, their nature is fixed. But Azazel was angel who fell through choice. If choice led to fall, could choice lead to redemption? Unlikely but theologically interesting. Option 4, completion. Perhaps Azazel knows his role in divine plan. Perhaps imprisonment was always meant to end this way. Perhaps he accepts his fate, having corrupted humanity, bearing their sins, being sacrificed as cosmic scapegoat. In this reading, Azazel is dark mirror of Christ. Christ bore humanity's sins willingly, was sacrificed, rose to glory. Azazel bore humanity's sins unwillingly, was sacrificed, will burn eternally. The demon who killed an archangel. We've explored Azazel, the watcher who fell, the teacher of forbidden knowledge, the corrupter of humanity, the demon who wounded Raphael and forced Michael's intervention. He's not in hell. He's not commanding legions. He's buried alive under rocks in a desert, in total darkness for over 5,000 years, but he's conscious, aware, waiting. The texts are clear. Azazel defeated Raphael in combat. Whether he killed him, wounded him severely, or simply forced retreat, the outcome is the same. An archangel couldn't complete his mission against this demon. It required Michael, the warrior archangel, to finish what Raphael started. And even then, Azazel couldn't be destroyed, only bound, buried, and reserved for final judgment. What makes Azazel so dangerous? His knowledge. He knows secrets that angels aren't supposed to share, techniques that shouldn't exist, names that can bind celestial beings. His impact, every technological advancement, every war, every corruption, traces back to what he taught. Humanity wouldn't be what we are without him. His punishment, the severity of his imprisonment, reveals the threat he poses. Lucifer rules hell. Azazel is buried alone in darkness. Which punishment is harsher? Which demon is more feared? His future. He's not gone. He's waiting. And when Judgment Day comes, he'll be released for however brief a time, before the final fire. 5,000 years of rage, 5,000 years of planning, 5,000 years of darkness, then light, then freedom, then fire. The demon who killed an archangel isn't finished. His story doesn't end until reality itself ends. And somewhere, under rocks in a desert, in absolute darkness, Azazel waits, conscious, patient, remembering. Subscribe to Eternal Enigma for more revelations about the entities hidden from mainstream theology. Until next time, remember, the most dangerous demons aren't always the ones in hell. Sometimes they're buried in the desert, and they're still alive.